Hey everyone, it's Kai here, and today we're going to be doing the 2022 NRL prediction video. Now this is the ultimate one. I'm 100% correct. Don't go into the comment section and get all flustered like,
this guy literally has no idea about footy.
Anyways, before I lose you to your short attention span, let's get into the video. In 16th place, the wooden spooners of the 2022 season will be the North Queensland Cowboys. Coming off one of their worst seasons in club history, in 2022 I'm expecting the remix. The Chad Townsend and Tom Dearden halves partnership really does not cut it for me. They have 5 combined wins over their last 2 seasons, which is honestly pretty depressing for Cowboys fans. They have a few wild cards in their backs with Scott Drinkwater and Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, who may be able to pull them off the bottom of the ladder and are capable of brilliant moments. Their forward pack is extremely promising, but more so for the future with the amount of young talent they have. Their season will really depend upon their $1 million men in Jason Taumalolo and Valentine Holmes, who both severely underperformed in 2021, both because of form and injury. It is expected that Holmes will be playing in the centres throughout the year, and I honestly can't think of a successful team that has put $1 million in the centres. Fairly unproven coach Todd Payton will also need to step up in 2022, as his job may be in danger if the poor results continue. I think even if the stars are able to click, I just can't see the Cowboys lifting far off the bottom of the ladder. In 15th place, I've got the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs.
The telephone high.
Let's truck, baby.
Holy Phil Gould is a legend. What a beast. Final round. They came 15th in 2020 and 12th in both 2019 and 2018. They have really sucked for a long time. And I'm really worried they've forgotten how to win. I mean, last year they were 8 points off even second last. Now, before you Dogs fans abuse me, their off-season acquisitions have been great. I mean, Matt Burton is one of the hottest prospects in the sport, and the Fox is a top 3 winger in the competition. Dufty may also be one of the more underrated backs, and Tavita Pengai Jr. is a beast on his day. I just look at their issues and they're so glaring. They are in desperate need for one of their halves to step up to partner Burton, and their forward pack really isn't that flash. Pengai Jr. is only one brain snap away from missing 5 weeks of action, and without a proper forward pack to lay the platform, those new cool signings the Bulldogs have won't really be given a chance to actually prosper. Not gonna lie, I am very worried for the Bulldogs, but coming 15th is better than coming last, so that's a positive. We can take that one home.
Go Bulldogs!
And in 14th place, I've got the Newcastle Knights. Ooh, very controversial, I know. But I genuinely think that the Novocastrians will struggle in 2022. I ask you this question. Outside of Ponga, who will the Knights go to? I mean, the Knights statistically had the second worst attack in the NRL last year. Imagine this year. On top of that, Ponga hasn't been the most durable player, missing on average about 6 games a season since joining the Knights. Newcastle really can't afford to lose him at all this year if they're going to be competitive. The Clune and Clifford halves partnership is untested and are both inexperienced at the NRL level. And the real backbreaker for me is the loss of Jaden Brayley to injury, who gives the side much needed direction. This team's one bright spot though is their forward pack. The Saifidi brothers and Frizzell are top quality forwards, but I feel their impact will be lessened without the direction of Jaden Brayley. Honestly guys, I can see the Knights season quickly plummeting. They are lacking depth in key positions, and as we saw last year without Pearce and Ponga, they hovered around the bottom of the ladder for the majority of the year, only to make that late run to the finals at the end of the season. And we haven't even gotten to the Kalen Ponga Redcliffe talk. Let's not get into that. That's pretty sad stuff for Newcastle fans, so let's just keep it rolling. In 13th place, I've got the West Tigers, my beloved West Tigers, the greatest club in the NRL. I don't see them making the top 8 again, unfortunately. It's probably going to be another year of just low mid-table mediocrity. It's going to be quite not fun to watch. Their forward pack, which at times got mauled through the middle, remains almost unchanged in 2022, with the Tigers relying heavily on the production of Luciano Leilua and Stefano Utoikamanu for any sort of go forward. The loss of Adam Dwayhe earlier in the year will hurt the Tigers, as the unproven halves partnership of Brooks and Hastings will have to perform from the off. West Tigers are still lacking that star to turn the game on its head. Laurie has shown glimpses over his short career so far, but it's too early in his development to make that judgment. The defence for me is the biggest issue, as they had the second worst defence in the competition over the past season. The Tigers' finals drought almost plays against them, as both fans and the board will be desperate to see their team in the top 8. But I think with the quality signings of Papali'i and Coruscant for next year, they should really just focus on developing for this season. Hopefully Madge will escape this season alive and can build on this season. No, seriously though, I hope I'm completely wrong. I really, really want the Tigers to make the finals. I just want to attend a finals game with the Tigers in it. Even if we get smashed 52-0, as long as we make it, it'd be very, very nice. And in 12th spot is the Brisbane Broncos. Even with the acquisitions of Adam Reynolds and Kurt Capewell, I just can't see them making that jump into the top 8 in 2022. Adam Reynolds is a big signing for sure, and it's going to help the Brisbane Broncos. He'll definitely stabilise their attack and is more than capable of kicking them into winning positions. I just hold my breath on the defensive end. This is a team that almost seemed disinterested at times. When they lost in 2021, they lost hard and found themselves on many occasions trailing by 20 plus. Much like every other team towards the bottom, they're still not sure on their halves partnership, which is always a worrying sign. They still do hold some of the best players in their respective positions in Payne Haas and Katoni Staggs, and have excellent young talent in Selwyn Cobbo and Brendan Piakura. I do see the Brisbane Broncos improving, but just not enough to make the top 8. In the 11th spot, it's the New Zealand Warriors. It's everyone's second favourite team, the New Zealand Warriors, and it's the team that's going to struggle again in 2022. Again forced to relocate to Queensland, the Warriors will hope to improve upon their 2021 season, which was ravaged by injuries. The reason I have them so low at number 11 is because of how thin they are amongst their outside backs and their need for another quality half next to Sean Johnson. Cody Nikorima looks like he may grab that half spot, but I believe he'd really thrive at the hooker position, giving directions to what is one of the better forward packs in the entire competition. Adam Fanua-Blake, Josh Curran and Tohu Harris make for one of the more fierce forward trios in the competition and will heavily influence the success of the Warriors. Peter Hiku and Tuivasa Sheck are obviously some big losses for the Warriors, and as of now, outside of Reece Walsh, the Warriors have little strike in their backs. How much of an offensive load can Reece Walsh handle, and at what level will Sean Johnson return to the Warriors? The Warriors will have a healthy forward pack every week and could sneak into the 8 with how talented it is. Unfortunately, between injuries, suspensions and the spicy cough, the chance that happens is very slim. At the 10th spot, it's the St. George Illawarra Dragons, the rugby league's newest retirement home. Honestly, although some of their off-season signings have kinda got memed due to the Dragons signing old farts like Aaron Woods and George Burgess, I think the overall makeup of the Dragons lineup isn't bad. They have some of the more dynamic young backs in the entirety of the NRL, which shows resemblance to the Penrith Panthers a couple seasons back. Tyrell Sloan looks formidable at fullback, Zach Lomax is an elite centre, and Ben Hunt was a top 5 halfback in the comp last year. Young Talatau Amone looks like a freak as well. It's the forwards which worry me. Outside of Sewer and Sims on the edges, their forwards really lack quality. The Dragons really need Jack de Belin in the middle to return to form, and I honestly feel like he could be the game breaker for this team. I think Ben Hunt's kicking game should minimise the lack of go forward for the Dragons, but I expect the Dragons to be one of the more streaky teams in the competition this year. At the 9th spot, it's the Gold Coast Titans.
Just a recap on the last time the Titans played. Yeah, I thought I'd just remind the 10 Titans fans.
2021 on the surface was a success, making the finals for the first time since 2016. I feel fans were relatively happy. It's a fact they qualified for finals footy with only 10 wins from 24 games. The decision to let go of both Jamal Fogarty and Ash Taylor heaps pressure onto young rookie Toby Sexton, who will be expected to perform well from the get-go. AJ Brimson at 6 is also a question mark, yet to really be proven at that position. Other moments. The Titans really don't want to be bringing him off the bench. Before we go any further in this video, comment down below your predicted top 8 for this upcoming season, and please like and subscribe because it helps me immensely. In the 8th spot, we have the Canberra Raiders. 2021 for the Canberra Raiders was like one of those afternoon soap operas your mum watches after work. Tons of drama. Whether it was the reported player rift between Sticky and his players, the mid-season departure of George Williams, or Captain Josh Hodgson standing down mid-season as captain, the Green Machine had a torrid year and still only missed the finals on point differential. The introduction of Fogarty I think will be incredibly important. I mean, last year they had Sam Williams, who for sure was serviceable, but was really only expected to be a backup. I mean, he had 11 played games for the club in the 2 seasons prior. If you look at the forward pack here, man, they look very dangerous. Tarpany and Papali'i should return to form this year, and they have plenty of depth too. I may even be underselling the Raiders here at 8th spot, but considering the amount of drama that comes out of their club, I'm really not sure, but I definitely think they have the talent to make the top 8. In the 7th spot, it's the Cronulla Sharks. With all the signings they made over this offseason, some may even expect them to be higher on this list. For me though, there is such a big gap between the top 6 and the rest of the competition. The Sharks' recruitment drive was easily the best. They revitalised the roster, removing a lot of deadwood whilst bringing in players who should be able to make an instant impact. McInnes and Finucane are two of the toughest blokes in the sport and will only add to what is a pretty decent forward situation. The Hines, Trindle, Brayley and Kennedy spine is incredibly well balanced and should be very dangerous. Coach Craig Fitzgibbon comes over from the Roosters. In the number 6 spot, it's the Manly Sea Eagles. Now I'm not going to lie guys, I absolutely hate Manly. They always rort the Tigers, but I swear this isn't why I have them so low on this list. The Sea Eagles were the beneficiaries of one of the greatest single seasons we have ever seen in this sport. And that was of course by the long schlong of Turbo Tom. Tom finished last year with 28 tries and 28 try assists. How insane, like video game numbers on rookie difficulty. I do worry that Turbo may not be able to replicate last year, and honestly I hope he does, but that will be incredibly difficult. We saw how bad Manly were without him, losing their first 3 games, and even with Turbo against top 4 sides, they really struggled. Don't get me wrong, Manly are still an excellent side. DCE and Foran are a quality pairing, and their edges in Schuster and Olakau'atu are becoming stars. But I worry about their reliance on that one great man. I expect them this year to completely trample anyone outside the top 8, but I still think they're going to struggle against those top 4 sides, and that's why I've got them in the 6th spot. In the 5th spot, we've got the Parramatta Eels. The Eels are kind of stuck in this mid-finals purgatory. They're stuck in terms of salary cap at the moment, and I can't see them getting any further up on the table. The Eels were very, very good for the majority of 2021, and I expect the same this year for Mitchell Moses, who had a good season, whilst Reid Marnie broke out into one of the premier hookers in the NRL. Papali'i was also a revelation on the edge, and they still only managed to finish 6th and bow out in the second round of the finals, like always. I expect Dylan Brown to return to form this year, and he's honestly the key to the Eels' success. You look at the roster, and the majority of the players are either close or at the peak potential of their career, outside of some quality youngsters like Penasini, Brown, and Dunster. I think the Eels will remain dominant throughout the regular season, with their forward packs steamrolling the majority of the competition. I just can't see who or what gets them over the line in terms of becoming premiers in 2022. Also, can we have a look at their roster management? I mean, like, look at that. Why is their entire team coming off their contract this year? Like, they're just not even going to have a team next year, I swear. There's so many players coming off their contract in 2022. In the 4th spot, it's the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Only 1 season removed from their grand final loss, and pundits already have them outside the top 4 in some situations, and I've seen even in 6th, 7th and 8th spot, which is pretty insane to me. I mean, the Bunnies were only a couple plays away from winning the whole thing and were dominant for the entirety of 2021. I understand Adam Reynolds, Dane Gagai and Jaden Sewer are huge losses, and coach Wayne Bennett is almost irreplaceable, but they are still an excellent side with stars all over the park. I'm guessing salary pressure was why they had to let them go, and why they did not bring much quality in. The effectiveness of Cody Walker without Adam Reynolds is a question for sure, and Latrell's ability to stay on the field will be another. But even with the loss of players and a slight drop-off from the Bunnies, they are still a top 4 side for me. Let's not forget guys, their forward pack consists of Keon Koloamatangi, Cameron Murray, Damien Cook and Jai Arrow. That's a top 4 forward pack for me. In the 3rd spot, it's those snobby East Siders. It's the Sydney Roosters. After a season plagued entirely by injury, they still managed to finish 5th, and they still managed to make the second round of the finals. I thought it was pretty impressive. Now, with star half Luke Keary returning and live wire Connor Watson playing in the utility role for the Roosters, they've only improved their roster. It is unlikely the Roosters have that same woeful luck with injuries in 2022 and are real contenders for the premiership this year. If I'm really nitpicking, their hooker position is probably where they're lightest at, and Verrills will be back in round 2, but we're still unsure of his quality at the NRL level. Bradley's ability to stay on the field will also be incredibly important to this team's success, as he, Crichton and Warrior Hargraves will lead what is one of the best forward packs in the entirety of the NRL. The Roosters are full of stars, and we should see an improvement for them in the standings this year. In the 2nd spot, it's the 2nd best team from Sydney's West.
Nah, for Tigers fans, this was like winning the grand final. I really don't care that you didn't have 6 players because of Origin. You're still the 2nd best team in the West.
That's right, the Penrith Panthers. The Penrith Panthers are coming off their premiership season, looking to go back-to-back. Now, this off-season hasn't particularly been kind to the Panthers. seeing Matt Burton, Brent Naden, Kurt Capewell, Tavita Pengai Jr. and Paul Momirovski departing. That strips the team of some serious depth in their outside backs. Burton was of course the centre of the year in 2021 and will be a significant loss. He also was crucial for the side, slotting into the halves during the Origin period as both Luai and Cleary featured for the Blues. Leota and Fisher-Harris should continue to remain big in the middle of the park as one of the fiercest prop partnerships in the competition, whilst Luai and Cleary are currently the best halves duo in the game. I've got them in second place because I feel they may struggle a bit during the Origin period, and backing up a premiership is always a tougher task. And the minor premiers, for me, will be the Melbourne Storm. I honestly think at this point, we should just forego the regular season for the Storm. Just give them a top 4 spot. Just push them over there. I don't want to see them in the regular season. They make everyone else sad. They make everyone else suffer. The Storm have had a pretty quiet off-season,
with talks that Cameron Munster has reformed himself over the off-season.
I mean, if we were getting a loose Munster before and he was a top 3 half, imagine a focus one. Now that's scary. Add to the fact they have Kenny and Jesse Bromwich, Harry Grant, Ryan Pappenhausen, Jerome Hughes, Xavier Coates, Justin Olam, and Brandon Smith, and everyone else in that club. I genuinely think they will steamroll the rest of the competition. Now, the loss of Nico Hines, Addo Carr, and Finucane will hurt, but we have seen time and time again that the Storm replace guys with relative ease. They have immense quality and heaps of depth in almost every position, and even with the loss of the Bromwich brothers, Kafusi and Smith next year, I doubt this will have any impact on this current year with how disciplined the club is. I don't see the Storm losing more than 4 games this year, which is kind of unfortunate. And to finish it off, guys, my final prediction is I think the Sydney Roosters are going to win it all. It's going to be a Melbourne Storm versus Sydney Roosters grand final, but the Roosters will take it. Sam Walker, 8 tries. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and put your own comment down below on who you think is going to make the top 8 this year. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.
And just a little sneaky one here. Luke Brooks, Dalian Halfback of the Year. Cool.